Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
What's good, everyone? This is another one. World Combat Sports on deck. Salute to the supporters, the day ones, and everyone who tune in to the channel. You know what it is. I appreciate you. Be sure to hit the like button, share the content, and if you choose to subscribe to the channel, real talk, it helps. You know, the topic at hand is Charlo versus Montiel, right? The public has spoken, and I guess other people have listened, because they definitely added some more black fighters to this card. You know, Juneteenth was spoken on as Charlo being the only black. He ain't the only black on the card. You know, before it was just you know, he had this cat named Michael Angeletti on there, which I did a live on this shit. You know, 2-0 fighter. They've added some more black cards, you know, do that affirmative blaction. You know, they had to do that affirmative blaction and bleed in some other brothers on there. They put Desmond Lyons on there. Willie Jones. I guess they had to find Willie, you know, to really put that flavor in there. Because when you put a brother name in there, Willie, on Juneteenth, you know Willie is a black dude. Period. And then they added Brian Jones on there. You know what I'm saying? So they added some more brothers to the Charlo card. I wonder why. I wonder why this came about. That all of a sudden, you know, they felt the need to inject more ethnicity, more ebony. You know what I'm saying? More of that chocolate skin on that card. Because they knew they was dead ass wrong, period. It wasn't no excuse for this shit. And I do believe wholeheartedly that Charlo should have spoken up. But Charlo's been on they nonsense, you know what I'm saying? They've been on here, rather than speaking up for the right thing, they rather speak up for dumbass bullshit. That goes for both of them. I mean, you got a card that's on a special day, the emancipation of slavery, and you can't even speak up as a black man and say y'all need to have this card, you know, more so orientated around more black fighters on the card, period. I mean, that's just a simple fact of the matter. Why are all the black orientated days that we supposed to somewhat celebrate and reflect upon, why are they being downplayed and diluted so much? It's almost like putting us, you know, putting these holidays in the back of the book. You know what I'm saying? The index is clean. There's no trace of it. But if you read the entire book or whatever it may be, well, you might find out it's more to the story once they put the black holidays in the back. And Juneteenth is an important, you know, day in history. You know, after hearing the Charlo say race don't matter, obviously, you know, it was total confusion on his part. Maybe he truly don't know about the history. Maybe him and his affluent lifestyle, he feel that he hasn't really experienced racism as of late. But that can't be true, right? Because it was a Charlo in the store talking about, oh, they don't want to let me in the store. I mean, they don't want my money. They profiling me. They being racist. And then another one's like, well, we can't get in the gym. They ain't gonna let us get in the gym because, we black or whatever. So I just think it's absolutely buffoonery to even consider anything other than both Charlos just out here goddamn tap dancing and shit. These motherfuckers on stage just talking crazy. And this card made them look even more crazy. You think they wasn't sitting up here listening to what was said about them on YouTube? You think people wasn't telling them, like, Charlo, what are you doing? Why you have mostly Mexicans on your card in Juneteenth? Who approved this shit, bro? You have to demand better of yourself so the other peoples will respect you in the same. You ain't demanding shit of yourself. It goes outside of your affluency, your materialistic fruits of your labor. It goes outside of that. Because you can't issue threats to everyone that comes at you sideways in your language and hold you accountable for shit you do. You can't sit up here and say race don't matter when you got a card full of Mexican or Latino fighters on your card on a day that your people, that reflect upon your people. Next, you'll be getting on here and talk about, oh, I did a genealogy check and I gave out the paperwork and I'm only 10% black. It just doesn't make any sense, man. Hopefully this is a learning experience or whatever it is. But due to the people that you have frustrated, pissed off, disappointed, and pretty much wedged a wider gap than they even had before. Because it's hard for people to really connect to the Charlo brothers because y'all always on your shit. It's nothing wrong with being on your shit. But I just look at, to them, race may not matter. I don't know. It may only matter if you have a black man that's training with you or you have other boxers that are black. I don't know. You might have a couple of friends here and there who may be black that's on your level, so to speak. But the way I see it, Charlo may not be concerned about the ones that's out here eating and grinding and hustling. For him to come at a YouTuber, a lot of people that follow Blue Blood Sports TV, right? A lot of people that follow him would be like, I can't believe how Charlo was so petty to think that his audience is going to listen to him because he's upset about something what he believed that was said on Blue's channel. He's going to come over here and believe that the platform that he has, he can tell his audience to unsubscribe to him when they're not even connected to this nigga. They're not even connected to Charlo. So how are you going to persuade or influence someone's audience that tune into him every day to follow you and you don't even talk to your fans every day? That shit is pure ignorance. You ain't trying to allow somebody to eat. The first thing you do is say unsubscribe. Why the fuck you worrying about his subscribers? Why don't you just come on the show and talk to him if you believe he said something? See, let me tell you something about my people. See, in the light of, I tell people all the time, I'm from the South, and I went to 3 marches down here when they was protesting by my damn self. I went to marches when I was growing up as a kid that was going on down here in some of these racist areas of Georgia. That's real talk. It's just certain things I don't try to prove to people. They can look at me however they want as a military person. They can say, what they believe, I'm a square, whatever. But one thing I do, I have no problem walking solo dolo in life. I never had an issue with it. I do know how to think for myself. One thing I know about my people is that some of them would try their damnness. If another black person pissed them off, they'll try their damnness to tear them motherfuckers all the way down to their ankles. That's just the reality. That's my opinion. I'm not speaking for everybody on the eve of Juneteenth. But I'm just saying, when it comes to your own people misunderstanding or believing somewhat of a lie, instead of them totally asking you like we some aggressive people. That's what people portray us as. So when it comes down to all the headlines on a black person did this, a black person did that, they have this, this clarity about blacks killing blacks so easily. And in certain areas, that is the case. But what I do understand is that from life in the military and this media shit, this combat sports, you run into certain people, and some of my brothers and sisters, they would try their damnedest if they don't know you, and they may ask somebody about you and they may not know you, but if that person decides to say some slick shit about you, we have a problem with just asking the person that we have a question about. Just ask, goddammit. Don't tear anybody down. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit up here and talking about tearing down other black men and shit like it don't exist. It exists, but it's a difference in tearing down a black man. To me, you take and hold somebody accountable for something they can't account for. That's me. You don't try to hold me accountable for something I can't account for. Like, one thing that I can't tolerate when I hear some shit that somebody said that I never had a conversation with in life. And sometimes when I hear snake motherfuckers, right, I'll feed them the shit that they looking for because I know they up to no good. I listen to language quite often, and I can tell someone that I don't converse with all the time asking me about somebody else. And I'm saying, why are you even asking me about somebody else when you truly don't know who I am? So why are you so immersed in trying to find out a connection between me and somebody else? Because you have soft ass motherfuckers that'll go to you to try to interfere or sever a relationship or friendship you may have with somebody else. We don't have to sit up here and rip somebody's down to the bone that looks like us. And I just look at the way Charlo went on here to a YouTube channel. You know, they quick to make threats and shit. Like, the fans don't connect with you. So how are you going to take food off somebody's table? It doesn't make me want to be a fan, period. I hear people talking about they fuck with the Charlo. I get it. Well, when you do some shit like that, man, from where I'm from the dirty. I put up pictures, all the pictures I took during 3 days, during the three protests I went to. A lot of cats just sit up here and talk, and I'm not one of those cats that's trying to prove anything to anybody. If somebody has some impression of me and we never really talked and had a conversation, then I don't care. I really don't care, bro. I'm cut from a different cloth. I like people to assume what is light. I would like for you to assume what is light. I totally understand within myself if it came down to it. If I truly had the issue to ask, I would be better off asking rather than, like so many times, a lie is being told on somebody that never conversed with somebody before. I'm kind of irritated about it. Like, finding out certain things about some people that I communicate with that other people have told them that never talk to me, period. They'll sit up here and make up shit like this is media. Everything I say don't supposed to satisfy or appease the person I'm talking about. If it's something dealing with the sport and your profession, then it's PR, it's public record, so I'm able to talk about it, right? If I'm talking about the Charlos, don't mean I hate the brothers. But if they have PR, which is public record comments, that means I can comment on it. I don't think these Facebook groups really calibrate their thought process to what be coming out their mouth. And I truly understand that not all those accounts are black people behind it. I know there's some white individuals or Latinos or whatever, or some black people out there clowning and coning and shit. I know there's some people out there that's just faking, but I think we have a lot of misguided individuals that I know there's brothers, sisters too, that just don't get it when it comes to this media shit. I say it all the time. The tongue is a sword to life and death. It's a sword to life and death, yo. When I hear this shit that's going on with certain boxers just making crazy ass comments, I'm like, how are we supposed to grow as a people when there's certain individuals that's groups of individuals that's still confused as to who they are in life? Racism is not going anywhere. This shit is still resonating to this day. It's still cultivated. It's still here, period. You can come up with any other names. You can call it Karen. You can call it anything you want. That shit been going on forever. Yes, we're a different group of people. But every day I look in the mirror, I say, God, thank you for me, having my brown skin. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for me having my rhythm. Thanks for me being who you created me to be, where I was born in the South after ATL. I appreciate what you have created. I have no questions at all. What I've learned is what I experienced. You know what I'm saying? So in this media game, when I go out here and talk to especially my people, I may not, my impression, people make first impressions. Sometimes they check the box all wrong. You're talking about a dude that came from a very abusive household. I didn't say much. I wasn't an introvert, but I kept to myself. And I just always have a straight face with shades on for my own reason. It's not to be cool, but it's due to sensitivity to the light. But when I roll up on people and they ain't smiling and giggling, they got an issue. If you go there and you laugh a little bit too much, oh, so-and-so's a dick rider. He's a goofy motherfucker. So which one you want? I can tell you which one you're going to get. You're going to get who I'm actually am. I really don't joke and play around like that every now and then. You might get it. I'm not the most conversational person. That's why I don't have panels all the time. But I love my black people. Absolutely, I do. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's a daily teaching experience with some of the strongest people in life. The only way you allow somebody to tell you outside of that is that you're a weak individual. You need to maintain that strength, continue to grow, educate yourself. So when you move in this society, people won't take you for a joke. They won't look at you. Your own people won't look at you as being a person who's just been walking and kicking a can most of your life. They'll look at you as a smart, intelligent human being. But Charlos need to tighten up. And just because we report on other black fighters and they have constructive criticism, don't act like it's the first time it's happened. It's plenty of media voices that's out here that have criticism of black fighters. That doesn't mean we're hating our own kind. That means we're just providing criticism and we're being opinionated. That's it. That's all. But for this fight card coming up tomorrow, the people did speak, and their voices was heard loud and clear, because they definitely added some other black fighters to this card. And I can sit up here and say it wasn't much, but it's something. It was Jamal Charlo and Michael Angeletti at first, and then they included Desmond Lyons now, and Willie Jones and Brian Jones. You know what I'm saying? We definitely have to take a peek at that and see how we can do better. That's all. I mean, we ain't perfect, but we never was born into this life in a perfect environment. That's why we're some of the strongest, individuals, strongest race to walk around here. From what our experiences is, and we have a strength that you can only build upon if you wearing this shade. If you was born a black man, black woman, period. Don't let people silence you or censor you or what is relevant in life. People still out here, dating back to when all the civility was active, and, the plantations was active, and everything that went on. You have people this day and time trying to feed that to everyone and say it never happened. It wasn't that bad. Why are you still talking about it? Move on. Well, somebody had to be influenced by something. And the emancipation of slavery, it didn't abolish it. You know what I'm saying? Slaves was free and still was like somewhat recaptured and put back on the plantation when they was free. It depends on what direction they took, what travels they chose. That's all. But you pretty much get the picture. If you look at the back end of my description, right? I put on there, I said, I don't think Wilder can win. I don't think Wilder can win when it comes to the public. I don't think Wilder can win. I know he can win when it comes to facing Tyson Fury when he split the ropes, but I don't think Wilder can win with the people, the general public. I truly don't. And the reason why I say that, the more conversation I've had with just the general public, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, they seem to be stuck on the now when they were still hating from the past. So I always ask them this one scaling question, right? I say, what do you rate the heavyweight division on a scale 1 through 5? Because a lot of them, they will sit up here and say that he fought number bums, right? I say, so what do you rate the class of the heavyweight division? And they always say like a 1 or 2. So if you rate them at a low standard, how can you sit up here and act like he's supposed to take the entire weight of what you're saying about his resume as if the heavyweight division was full of killers? It was never that. It was never to a point where the heavyweight division 1 through 15 was just straight up. All of them can be in the top 10 if you look at it, but we had to make 15 because they're just that good. I mean, it's never been like that. We're not producing human beings to perform on a high level as such. So since we are performing average, and then there's a certain elite percentage that's performing in the top 5 to 3% in life, we have to really assess the criticism that we given Deontay Wilder when he was undefeated. The man was undefeated for a long time. So when it comes down to him, with 42 victories, laying down all his opponents, on February 22nd, picked up his first defeat. I don't think Wilder can win with the fans. I don't think he can win with the general public who may not be fans, but they may be listening to people who are just straight up haters. I don't think he can ever win. So when I listened to Fred's interview and see him in the room speaking and being down to earth and just letting the people know things that's genuinely coming from his heart. The man was joking around, laughing, kicking back. In the military, we say shooting the shit. What other interview do you want? You know what I'm saying? What other interview do you want? What other interview do you want with him basically debunking all this depression and mental fragmentation and being depressed and all this other shit? If you haven't seen the interview in Los Angeles that he did in his hotel room, you need to take a look at it. You know, this is a guy whose attitude is high spirit. This is a elite fighter who came from the press conference, and it was extremely the bronze bomber that you've seen. And it's no way that you could have like broke any of that. That shit was full blown character. The stare down and everything. Full blown bronze bomber. But in the rooms, back to Deontay Wilder. Joking around, shooting the shit. And I don't even think he was really doing it for the fans. I think he was doing it for, Fred, who he's known for a while. And he's kicking it with his boys and his team. That's what we do. Shooting the shit, man, kicking it, whatever, having a conversation. Anthony Jones in the building. What's good? I know there's a lot of people, when I was going around listening to certain people who I know they're straight up haters. They worried about the wrong thing, especially when it comes to grown men doing grown man shit. They worrying about the wrong thing, y'all. They sitting up here. They would take bits and pieces of an interview without even listening to us in entirety. This man about to go in there and step in another big fight of his career. All right. We said that the rematch, I said the rematch was the biggest fight of Deontay Wilder's career. And it was the biggest, the toughest fight. Now he has to revisit the square once more with the same individual that attempted to ruin his career or potentially kill him if it came down to that. Now, in a loss, people are always going to objectify the point that, okay, it's excuses. The whole summary is excuses because he lost. But if Deontay would have won and then made those accusations and said, hey, guess what? I think it was something in his gloves. I think it was this. I didn't feel absolutely right. But if you heard Wilder say this, he said, you know what? I didn't feel right, but I wanted to challenge myself. So it was time for me to go in there and say, okay, here it goes. I ain't feeling good, but here goes nothing. Let's go. Let me see what I got. I wanted to challenge myself. If individuals are missing, how his words was articulated, right? How he expressed himself in a moment of adversity where his body was on a whole nother level. It was in a degraded state. So for a man to consciously make the decision to say, I'm not feeling good, but I'm in the biggest fight of my life, and I'm going in there with a top 2 heavyweight. This is in defense of my title. Let's do it. And you still don't respect him? If you still don't respect the man for making that decision when he said he could have went to his corner, nah, I ain't fighting her. I just don't feel well. I don't think I can do it. It takes a lot of heart and confidence and courage, man, to go in there and honor your family and the sport. It takes a lot. And whether you want to hear it or not, it takes a different type of dude. You have to be cut from that cloth to not be at 100% going into combat. In boxing, it's a 101 imano imano. So you definitely have to understand that this is not just a match. It is the match, the championship match for the title. The highest level you could get. And you going in there with a dude that's close to 280 pounds. And Deontay, you know, he's in shape. But he's not as big as Tyson Fury. So he has to basically hold that weight or be able to maneuver around that weight. Basically wear that weight. Get through the dirty tactics. Get off the canvas. And with all that being said, I don't think he can win with the people. I seriously don't. So his attitude now, not talking to the media, I mean, you can look back at my lives. It does nothing for me when people complain about it. It does nothing because I said this. I said he should come back to the sport and he shouldn't say anything to nobody. If you weren't fucking with me when I was winning and knocking motherfuckers out, right? I was giving you what you adored from Mike Tyson. I was giving you that closure, that consciousness that you was looking for me to disrupt with my left or right hand. He was giving us that. But somehow, some way, man, the metric of Wilder in this era will never measure up to the attraction fans supposedly have for him, the respect the fans should have for what he's been able to do for the sport. It won't measure up because they're not concerned about that. They will glorify Mike Tyson, who his career can be peeled back layers at a time on where he fucked up. But they glorify the fuck out of him. Just off his fighting style alone, what he did coming up. But he himself has a blemished past. You take Mike Tyson's blemished past with his knockout, and I'll tell you all the time, boxing has an open door policy for cats to come in from all walks of life, right? So you come in here with your past, and boxing allows you to make a living and eat. Whether you're a good, whether you're a C-level fighter or A-level fighter, you can come in here and make a living, right? During your boxing career, you can get in trouble. You can go to prison. Get out of prison and come back to box. You can go to jail, get out of jail, and come back to box. You can pop positive for performance-enhancing drugs, get off suspension, and come back and box. So with that said, as a people, that doesn't mean you have to sit up here and digest the shit like it's some type of scripture. Like, oh man, I'm doing myself a due diligence by not being judgmental on this person, accepting who they are and what they've been through in life, and continue to support them. But what about the ones who kept it clean? You know what I'm saying? What about the boxers who have kept it clean? What about the boxers who is doing everything that you raising your kid to be? You have motherfuckers out here that'll tell their kid, I want better for you. Go get an education. Let me know what I need to do. If I need to buy this, I'll make it happen. If I need to write this letter, I'll make it happen. Right? We glorify certain Olympians. We glorify certain Olympians. So when I was having a conversation with this cat, and I was saying, pretty much Deontay Wilder and Mark Breland, they're not too different of a boxers. You crazy. And they just looking at it as Mark Breland being the victim in all of this. And they always mention his credentials. And I say, but one thing you refusing to talk about is the fact that he was an Olympian. He was fast track, earned a bronze standard, and went on to become world champion. And the only thing you talk about is who did so-and-so beat to get the belt to face Wilder and lose the belt. Not the fact he went through, he short tracked in boxing, didn't have an extensive amateur pedigree. The depth was very little. Still went through in the heaviest division. Faced this adversity to end win a bronze medal. You go, transfer over to the professional level and become a highlight reel knockout artist. The heaviest hitter in the sport right now, period. Hands down, right? But I don't think he can win the people. I don't think the people understand this era of how great Wilder is because they rather latch on his words than his performance. How can you glorify Mike Tyson, a person that look, Mike Tyson literally showed you in the ring that he's willing to he's willing to result to biting both ears and being an extremely dirty fighter, all because he felt Evander Holyfield was headbutting him. Fighting during press conferences. An abuser. Went to prison. Just all that shit. Admitted to cocaine usage, all that. But I'm not going to ask the question on why y'all don't hold Wilder to that accountability. And there's some other solid cats that's not in the frame of popularity as Wilder, that they haven't been beginning to be criticized just yet. We have some other brothers that's out there. And like I say before, boxing can be forgiven and boxing can be unforgiven. Sometimes people latch on to the bad boy image and they willing to come see you fight. In Wilder's case, he has a clean image when it comes to what he was supposed to do in the sport, perform, right? But somehow, some way, it's not enough, because I think it's the limited presence of us having another white heavyweight champion at this present time, and Wilder being solo dolo for a long time as a black heavyweight champion. And I know we have Trevor Bryan right now, who's a WBA regular. Shout out to the brother, good brother. I'm not gonna sit up here and diminish anything he's been able to do, right? But his status as a heavyweight champion is not comparable to what Deontay Wilder has been able to accomplish. And also, you have to take in consideration that now a lot of black boxing audience is trying to match up Jared Anderson to Deontay Wilder. The reason why they are somewhat being nice individuals, or call themselves being genuine friendly to Jared Anderson, is because he's over there sparring fighters in the UK, supposedly helping out, Tyson Fury, or he sparred with Anthony Joshua, whatever the case may be. And that's well and fine. He's a boxer. He can do what he wants. We have heavyweights coming up. They have a long ways to go. We have heavyweights coming up. And Jared Anderson has a long ways coming up. He has a long ways to go before he actually step in there with a top name. But regardless of who he helps over there across the pond, if he ever makes it to this level and Wilder's out the sport, he's going to find out if he's loved or hated. And if he tries so hard to appease all these people, he better be able to dedicate himself deep enough to maintain that standard. If he ain't able to maintain that standard to appease the people in the ring and out the ring, then he may very well, hire him a life coach, because he's going to be up there questioning himself and be like, damn, I did so much. I did it the right way. I was a good person. I did nothing to nobody. I wasn't fucking that up or nothing. I was winning. And then the fans like, man, Deontay Wilder used to do this. He used to do that. Then they're gonna be missing motherfucking power because it's hard to be able to, first of all, have a chin. First of all, have a chin in heavyweight division. Second of all, to possess ungodly power. Ungodly power. And then third of all, to have the composition, the range and the height and the boxing IQ. See, boxing IQ doesn't have to necessarily add up to boxing technique when it comes to a fighter. A fighter can be smart enough to know how to delegate their boxing skill set on their opponent. They may not have the best overall skill set. It may not be as beautiful. It may not be as technically sound or disciplined, but their mindset and boxing IQ, they're smart enough to attempt to try to, okay, let me land this shot. Let me place this shot here, or let me time him. What should I do? They can still be smart enough to figure it out. Sir Ken in the building. What's good? Mississippi King in the building. They trying to feminize the black male. Oh, that's always. That's always. When he get his title back, I hope he trash it like Bo. So hold on for a second. Yeah, for sure. Hold up. Let me take this down right quick because I'm done talking about Charlo. Let me take him down. I gotta put the bat. I have to put the bat signal back up. You know what I'm saying? I have to put the bat signal back up. But shout out to Anthony Jones. Mississippi King in the building. Sir Ken say World Combat Sports. Salute to the wrenches and salute to the chat. Smash the like button. Appreciate you there, Sir Ken. Appreciate you pulling up. Everybody's in the live chat. There's many other fighters that can be talked about at this moment, but it's just certain people. It's not even galvanizing July 24th like it should. That's a huge life-changing fight. It shakes up everything, just like the arbitration. And just like Anthony said, when Jared Anderson, if he's able to make it up to this point where he is a prominent professional boxer in the game, he is a top 2 to 3 heavyweight that's moving the sport. Right now, Wilder is moving the sport. He won the arbitration when many people was just sitting up here criticizing the great. That's tough to be like. It don't matter how many, what you have at home. It doesn't matter how much money you make. As a human being, you still think about and read what people say, right? It may be moments where you just think to yourself and say, after all I've done, these sorry motherfuckers still don't get it. So it takes you a lot of reserve to go out here in front of the camera and not say, you know what? When he was giving that PBC interview, right? He said, you know what? I gave you the nice, now I'm like, shit, fuck you. That was light considering what he could have relayed to those that's supposed to be his audience and what was being said about him. From what Pugmire said, what Coppinger said, what plenty other people, Stephen A., it just seems like old media have those voices in place that always load up on the criticism. These motherfuckers do not stop. These motherfuckers never stop. I don't think Wilder can win with the fans. Because I'm going to tell you, he go in here next month and get his belt back and he does an interview. Only his team can understand. And even them, they can't keep accountability to everyone that was out here fucking up and talking that shit. But they can pick out the primary suspects. But you're talking about, first of all, drawing first blood, right? He wins the arbitration. Now he finally comes out to the only presser of the fight, says very little, right? Which I check the box on. I totally agree. Don't say a motherfucking thing to these ungrateful people, right? Because they believe they should just get, and he should give, and not receive. He can talk about speak and believe and receive it. Oh God, we don't want to hear that positive shit. We don't want to hear that positive shit. So what do you want to hear? You want to hear him saying nigga this, fuck you, hoe ass motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And then it'd be like, oh man, this language is just terrible. He's unprofessional. My God. You would think with all that money, he can just hire an etiquette coach. You know what I'm saying? They'd be saying some shit like that. What Malik say? For a moment, I thought it was a cult of individuals that just didn't like him. No matter if he did good or bad, they had something to say. So imagine living your life in a contact sport where you're not a team player. You're not depending on your teammates to go out there and win, right? So just imagine you have to split the ropes and go out there and perform, and you're graded off your individual performance. And this is a contact sport where the gloves are much heavier than mixed martial arts, and you're able to load up on your punches a lot more. Over time, that jolt and the impact that you have is punishment. It is. It's punishment. And boxing is it's the hurt business for a reason. It's a reason why fighters have died in the ring. Fighters have died out the ring. Some fighters at an early age have developed dementia, and they died early. But just think about the actual competitors. Just think about what is going on with all these YouTubers. Just think about all this shit. Somebody has something to say always about something. Boxing is such a broad-based sport that where's the control point? Where's the motherfucking control point of this sport? Who's organizing shit here? There's no organization whatsoever. It's the Wild Wild West. It's the Serengeti up in here. And finally, Wilder has gotten to a point where he understands that he is in the jungle and there's a food chain. So for all the motherfuckers that was talking shit that's trying to climb up the food chain, he's basically saying, do something about it. You think you can eat better than me in this sport? Do it. It's easier said than done now. A motherfucking hide in the shadows eating on nuts. You know what I'm saying? Leaves. Little seeds from the ground. But they ain't eating meat and they ain't carnivores. They're not carnivorous. These motherfuckers are eating plant life. Fuck that. It's too dangerous to go out there and hunt. Fuck that. It's a pecking order in this motherfucker. And when it comes down to it in this era, man, they actually believe that what Eddie Hearns was saying the day before the arbitration was letting out, that there was a fight going on August, right? They believe that shit. But you know, the sad, ignorant, undeniable bias is that I didn't see many people criticizing Eddie Hearns for puppetizing the audience. I've never seen, I just didn't hear the backlash from Eddie Hearns. I mean, to Eddie Hearns. Why wasn't people out here denigrating Eddie Hearns for putting out information that he had previous information? You know, he had previous intel, so to speak, on the situation at hand with the arbitration, but he still pushed forward and put this Fury Joshua shit out here to the media as if it was actually going down. And it was with no gain, y'all. It was for no purpose whatsoever except to just tease and fuck with the people. He knew the arbitration is still active and the news was about to be announced. He had to know that the individual in Wilder who the arbitration was ruled in favor of. They knew that shit, but Eddie Hearn still put out the information that Fury Joshua was happening in August, and in Saudi Arabia. And when the arbitration came out, I did not hear the backlash of calling Eddie Hearns on his shit. But yet they want to just say, okay, let me go back to something else. Why did he fire Mark Breland? Why is he talking all this pro-black shit? Why is he making all these excuses about the egg weights and all this and the gloves? They didn't even congratulate. They didn't really say, any positive talk and say, man, Deontay Wilder's serious about this shit, man. Okay, he deserved a motherfucking trilogy. It was in a contract. Give him a trilogy. But they come up with Block Squad. They come up with all these other cliche terms, man, to put this man out there as if still he's unintelligent enough to fight for his motherfucking life. So that's and listen to all the damn cloud of criticism that he was receiving, and he still moved forward, started to do interviews, said what he said. But then when he come to the press conference in Los Angeles, people are mad and saying the reason why he didn't say too much because Tyson Fury is in his head. Deontay Wilder had all this to say before, but he's quiet now because they're face to face. What does he have to prove to the people? If he would have gave you the same energy he gave in the first fight, people would have said, "Oh, there you go again, thinking he must not understand the ass whooping Fury put on him." He's clueless. That Wilder character is clueless. Now people are talking about Malik, in which Deontay Wilder not Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury wanted to express that Malik Scott, how could you possibly teach him something that you couldn't excel to in your boxing career, right? The presence and the cohesiveness in the team, just trying to, tear it apart. And then the question was rose, then what is this going on with Sugar Hill? He wasn't either. But you praise and want to put him out there as if he and others that's latching on to this rhetoric and saying that Sugar Hill taught him how to place his punch. Get the fuck out of here. Man, y'all can't be that stupid. He taught him how to properly punch. The man already, or in heavyweight fighting history, he already beat Klitschko without Sugar Hill. So the track record all the way up for Sefer Seferi, all the way up to Otto Wallin. Now Sugar Hill comes in and he teaches Tyson Fury how to punch. And all of a sudden, with that punching dynamic, you somehow channel an alternate source of power that has never been with him in his career like that. Now he's a power puncher. Now, somehow, some way, he has been reinvented as a human being in his 30s. That's bullshit. All the way through and through. That's motherfucking bullshit. And you know it. You shouldn't be on here talking and giving Sugar Hill credit, man. Because Sugar Hill, it fits into the slime squad real nice. Sugar Hill fits into the slime squad real nice. Him and Tyson Fury, they like it. Hugo Fury was looking at me when I was up there talking to. Look, the interview wasn't long for a reason. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't there to deal with the hyped up Hughie Fury. I was there by myself to do an interview. I wouldn't even call it an interview. I was just basically wanted to antagonize Fury a little bit, and that's, you know, why all the changes. You know, you're saying you're going underground and off social media. Why? Just do the same shit you did before. If you still got Sugar Hill, because outside before I entered Starbucks, Sugar Hill told me that he wasn't the trainer. You know, he was on some bullshit. He didn't answer my question except to tell me when asked about what was said to Malik Scott. And then I asked him about you. I say, so can you provide me the crunk sauce on how somehow, some way you injected that power into Fury's punches? That's all I want you to tell me. And then he just looked at me. He said, you know, that was just trash talk. But that doesn't make any sense. We're talking about the physical damage that was done, and they're giving you credit for that. But I really couldn't get that out because him being who he is and, you know, being in the camp of Fury, you know, he's not going to give you much. Sugar Hill, that's one thing about him. He's not going to give you much. He will look out, you know, look out the corner of his eyes and give you that little beaming law enforcement type look. You know, that's what he does. He ain't going to answer you straight. And when I asked Tyson the question about him going off the grid, I said, why? Why make changes for somebody who you already admitted it was easy work? Why make the changes, though? What's the point? Sugar Hill has provided you the equalizer. And you have said that you was going to either knock out Deontay Wilder in 1 round. Now it's moved up to 3. So therefore, if you have the special recipe, you have the master plan to go in there, why you have to go off the grid? And then he goes to tell me that they've been partying in Miami, and he opens his coat and say, look at me, I'm 289. I was like, I've seen mashed potatoes in life. I'm not trying to see a human being that look like mashed potatoes. What you looking for me to compliment your physique? Are you crazy? This dude actually opened his jacket and said, look at me, I'm 289. I said, you look 289, Shaq. Days are ticking. You know what I'm saying? Days are ticking, and we're just outside the 30-day mark. I know a lot of people are undetermined. They're praying and wishing. They're going to the chapel. They're going to see the priest to make confessions. There's a lot of individuals that's going to attempt to put money on this fight. And it's not the type of money that you think. Like the money that they put on this fight, they the ones who absolutely support Fury, it's been said time and time again. The ones who support Fury are the Deontay Wilder haters, period. So if they're supporting Fury heavy, it's because they have a disdain for Deontay Wilder. So they may indeed try to feel good about themselves by putting money on Fury. They're wishing and hoping somehow, some way that this star comes down. You know, there's a falling star and shit on that day. It's a part of a meteorite hit when that, you know, at the MGM. I mean, at the T-Mobile Arena. They hoping that something happens to the point where, you know, people need to be on the lookout, man. You know, this motherfucker, they probably going back to damn Nancy Kerrigan and shit and Tanya Hardin. It's a lot riding on the history of this fight, especially as a black man and Deontay Wilder, you know, losing and coming back in a trilogy. He gets his title back and calls out Joshua. World. Because if Joshua does not take the call out, if he refuses to fight Deontay Wilder, the UK is going to look worse than what it looks like now. Eddie Hearns is not going to be able to talk all that bullshit and agitprop and put these down. To degrade Wilder, the same shit they was doing back in 2018. They're not going to be able to do that shit. They're not going to say what Deontay Wilder is worth. He's only getting paid. We're willing to pay him more than he got paid. He's getting paid $5 million, back then. So we're willing to give him, $5.05 million. They was trying to give a man flat fees. When Carlos Takam, Alexander Povetkin didn't receive flat fees. So why were you trying to give in a failed negotiation a flat fee? Two now. And why wouldn't, at the time, it's beneficial for Anthony Joshua, being that he is the premier prototype boxer that everybody loves. I think more people are enamored with his physique than his boxing skills, especially the dudes. Some of them dudes I seen up in Starbucks around Tyson Fury, they act like they want him to give him a nice wet kiss like he did Sefer Safari. Oh, Tyson, it's good to see you. Are you going out tonight? You mind a little company, Tyson? Deontay Wilder call out Anthony Joshua. He don't accept the challenge. It's a lot of shit gonna go down. If you listen to anything I said back then about Anthony Joshua, no cap. All you have to do, I can't find it for you. I'm not. But I said, if Deontay get to a point where he's calling out Joshua and there's no obstacles anymore, Joshua is going to, because I truly don't believe with Deontay. You know what I'm saying? He has the opportunity to redeem all that earlier shit of him being a ducker. He steps in the ring with Wilder. He is. So, Wilder get this belt back. He calls out Anthony Joshua, and Joshua doesn't accept. He comes out with all these mandatory and push the fight to 2023. Then that's just exactly what I expected. I'm not disappointed because I didn't expect shit from Joshua. They're going to, once again, do the same shit they did. They're going to try to put Dillian White in the equation to try to take the belt again. And we all sleep. Seriously. And y'all can look at that Alexander Povetkin rematch all you fucking want. But goddamn it, Alexander Povetkin damn near looked like Deontay Wilder in the rematch. No water. This man is wavering on the ropes. No footing. Unstable legs. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? It's happening. Like I said before, I don't think he can win the fans. I don't think he's going to win the public, the public opinion in favor of himself. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think he can win that. So he's left that alone. But what he can win is July 24th, get his title back. And it'll be another win for his family, another win for his team, and the biggest win of U.S. heavyweight boxing in general, period. It will also be a win for his legacy in the history that he's etched as one of the greatest to ever do it. People are like it's a short language when you say great with Deontay Wilder's name, because people always want to talk about the heavyweight, the only heavyweight Deontay Wilder, and how he boxed, and he didn't have these perfect skills. No heavyweight has these perfect skills. Look at the way George Foreman used to fight. You think that's perfect boxing? He had so-called power, and he used to be a slugger. His punches weren't technically proficient. Look at Joe Frazier's defense, and look at how many times he was popped in the head over and over and over again. That was perfect boxing that Muhammad Ali was doing, the rope-a-dope, taking all that punishment on the ropes. Come on, man. I can go on with this shit. You glorify Rocky Marciano, who took extreme amount of punishment just to land his own. He'll take 3 to 4 punches to land his one. Yeah, he had a right hand. You know, the right hand was named Suzy Q. That was Rocky Marciano's right hand. But he used to take extreme amount of freaking punishment, man. Nobody talks about that shit. Nobody talk about, oh, I bet he used to press from the beatings he took. Somebody should exhume his body and really take a look at how much damage he took, you know what I'm saying, in earning that undefeated record, and how we can change boxing moving forward. Nobody ain't saying that shit. I wonder, was he depressed? How much medication was he on, taking all that punishment? Cooking with Sir Senior in the building. Salute, man. The brotherhood, what's good? Ron Sizzle said Crawford the best. Nobody beats him. Shout out to Bud Crawford. But I'm going to leave it at that, man. When it comes down to Wilder, his name is trending like it was when he was outside, you know, post fight February 22nd. He wasn't saying that it was trending. He started to talk more and more. It's trending even more now. It's trending even more, being that he only, you know, gave an impromptu, a short language, you know, response when he was on the mic, basically giving cautionary measures to Tyson Fury, and he was gonna it's gonna be bloodshed. So if your stomach can't handle it, then don't show up. Don't buy a ticket. But if you want to, get your tickets. Let's go. But the effect it has on professional boxing moving forward next month is grand. And I get people act like they want to stop talking about it, but yet they talk about it. And then they just extract the negative portions of what he may have said somewhere, somehow. They'll listen to Fred's interview, a barbershop's conversation. They say, why he had to say that right there? Then they get to a point where they try to paint him out as a racist. But they confused because he didn't fire JDs. So since he's a racist and he didn't fire JDs, now they want to look at him as being the Django. You know what I'm saying? The shit never fucking stops. If he speaks up for his people, and then they say he's racist, but yeah, he didn't fire JDs, he fired a black man. Then they say, oh, he's a slave in reality because he got rid of Mark Breland and not JD's. But they don't know it was two different positions that both of the individuals had. One was there since day one, and one was there, for several years. So the loyalty was different. The loyalty balanced out differently for Mark Breland when it comes to JD's. And then, he even said himself that him and Mark Breland didn't have this close knit bond. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't close friends. And he still kept him around when people was telling him to fire him. So what's the problem? What's the problem that people don't get? You still want to think about the accusation of the water like it can't happen? Ask Panama Lewis, can it happen? Ask Nassim Richardson, can a fighter actually get caught cheating right in front of you? Ask him. You can't ask Billy Collins because he's dead. His whole career ruined because Panama Lewis betted on the fight and loaded his fighter with weapons. You know what I'm saying? Manipulate the gloves, put holes in each palm, and remove the padding. And gave Billy Collins, an undefeated fighter, a beating. Scratched his cornea, ruined his career. And thanks to the reality of his dad shaking the hand of Luis Resto, he found out there was barely any padding in the glove. And he immediately asked the commission to confiscate or impound the gloves. The gloves were impounded, placed in the back of a seat, and come to find out they were. Same as Tyson Fury gloves. The only reason I didn't bring him up in the interview because he wouldn't talk about them. They was out there just being reckless, man. They wouldn't talk about the shit. I didn't hear hardly anybody talking about no goddamn gloves. So don't sit up here and hit me up and say, why you didn't ask about the gloves? It's no team give me credentials. I have to apply for that shit on myself. Nobody's giving me credentials. I have to make all the phone calls. I have to connect with people. I don't have a team of individuals doing anything for me. So I have to also watch how I move. I don't have people co-signing me. Oh, he good. Let him in. He good. And I have to do all this shit on my own. I have to make my own damn reservations. I have to do all that shit. And I don't go around acting like I'm looking for people to understand that. Well, if it came down to it, I will demand that you know. I'm not just going out here kicking cans down the street and trying to say, okay, I'm ready. And I got a Kodak camera where the pictures come out the bottom. Just give me a little time. They're going to develop. I got to keep shaking this out now. The sun is out pretty bright. I got to keep it in the shade, or else the picture ain't going to come out right. Y'all know what it is. Big dog in the building. Salute WCS. Salute to you. Mississippi King trying to, you're almost halfway through their wicked agenda. They'll talk about it after the 24th. And we're going to talk about the shit all the way up to the 24th. On the 24th, it's going to be on and popping, people. And, you know, it's definitely other fights out there. But, you know, Wilder's name is trending heavy. And I will ask for the people that still like you at a point right now that you still might have a dilemma. I'm not out here to recruit any new Wilder fans. I'm not. I'm saying for those of you that's actually, you know, a bit puzzled and everything, confused, what you say, I just say I suggest you go look at the Fred Barbershop Conversation interview. Just try it out for instant. Just try it out. That's all. Just listen to the whole interview. Do the advertisements and everything. Because I truly believe that the haters don't want to see him laughing and joking and shooting the shit like that. Big dog, appreciate you. Great work on the press conference. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. You know, the shit ain't easy. You know, I was supposed to go from there down to Teal's fight, but you know, he tested positive, so I had to stay an extra day and roll to the crib. I didn't have no team helping me out. I wasn't on here complaining. I'm old. I'm an older cat. So these younger cats may not gravitate to whatever. I'm not gonna ever have a team like some of these big units. You know, hey, I'm retired first. I'm retired. But Big Dog, I appreciate the donation, my brother. Thank you for your support. Been working overtime. Glad to catch you live. Watched a few of those playbacks earlier. Absolutely. That UFC stream was on point. I think Dana knows the African fighters have potential to dominate the sport. I mean, you know, my whole point was, is there equal racism from mixed martial arts to boxing? Notice I didn't say the UFC to boxing. I say mixed martial arts to boxing because I see black men and black athletes becoming champions easy. But in boxing, I just see all the red tape and propaganda all the time. This shit's annoying. And I look, I have so many people that sit up here and criticize me for talking about MMA, and now they're attempting to talk on MMA. And they report on mixed martial arts just like they do boxing. They will name the fighter and they will tell you the result on how they win. Or they'll name the fighter and tell you who they fight. And that's no, do what you do. Do what you do. But when it comes down to mixed martial arts, it's better to know what you're watching. It's better to pretty much attempt to success what's about to play out in the cage. But you have 3 black Africans, champions on the highest organization. But yet boxing, we're still waiting on Spence and Crawford. Like, hey, you know, when I finish Manny Pacquiao, I'm going to Terrence. Okay, cool. Got it. And then Jamal Charlo. You know, I'm not fighting any this and that. I mean, who are you fighting, dog? Montiel. I mean, okay, after Montiel, who's next? Because what Francis Ngannou's been able to do, he's fought the best. He's had his loss and came back and went on the winning streak. Boom, he got the title for Stipe Miocic. Knocked him out. Does it play out like that in boxing? If you lose a title shot, how long does it take unless you don't Nito Donaire? How long does it take unless you don't Nito Donaire? He went in there with Inoue, lost, and they shift him next door, and he gets a shot at Nordine Bali, you know, from a postponement, and goes in there and wins. Who does that? Who gets that opportunity? Who gets the Sergey Daryanchenko treatment? Daryanchenko lost twice at the IBF mandatory. They switched him. They changed him over to the WBC. He goes in there and loses against Jamal Charlo. But who gets the opportunity though to elevate the franchise title? Blatantly elevate the franchise title. Fuck Rungfasai just so you can fight Chocolatito for a 3rd time. Fuck him out the mandatory. Who is black that's getting this shit? Who? I'm becoming American Best Owl. Who? Who is it? Who is doing what Israel Adesanya is doing in middleweight division? Who is doing what Kamaru Usman is doing at the welterweight division? Who is doing what Francis Ngannou at the heavyweight division? It was only one other guy that was doing it at light heavyweight, and now he's a heavyweight. That's John Jones now. But you have 3 Africans, world-class athletes, glorified by the fans. So you tell me, why is Deontay Wilder hated in boxing when these individuals over here talk just as much shit? Seriously, they talk just as much shit. Goddamn, Israel Adesanya talks so much shit. He's grabbing dudes' ass, gyrating, and acting like he's having some type of sexual intercourse with Paulo Costa after the fight, like he's violating the man. He sits up there and fight Marvin Vettori, and he grabs the man's ass. Nobody's saying nothing. But let it be Wilder going in there doing some suspect type shit, especially kissing the man on his lips. And these channels will love it. They will love it dearly for a whole 2 months straight. We knew it. He was twerking. We knew it. Lord, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thank you for sending us a sign. It would be, motherfuckers all over the place. Just, oh man, that's a motherfucking faggot right there. He goddamn sissy ass. But come on now. Israel Adesanya is black too. Nobody's criticized for him for that. Nobody. Like they love Francis Ngannou. You have 3 different type of individuals now. 3 different types of Africans, as black as you want to be. Why is boxing so different when it comes to black fighters? We're dealing with human species, 2 different combat sports, but yet they're glorified quite differently. The levels of respect are different. Danny get plenty of black fighters opportunities. It might not be the best payday, but you'll get an equal chance. True. Pete Davenport in the building. Salute. Say peace, good brother. Peace to you, my brother. I don't think there's much racism in a sport like boxing, but the fans will be fans. It's a lot of racism in boxing, man. But I respect your opinion, though. I respect it. Easy say racism exists everywhere. A black man live in everything we do. We're great. And that's a big threat to other races, centuries old. Goddamn Easy is speaking that pre-Juneteenth speech. You know what I'm saying? Talk your shit. Jay, only when they kiss ass. Remember, he didn't get along with Woodley, Rampage, Jobs, and many more black fighters. Well, Dana White used to work in a sense with Floyd Mayweather. So Dana White, you can never say he's been like this racist because he used to, work with Floyd Mayweather, so to speak. I heard he used to carry his damn luggage and shit, but they have a history. So when it came to making that fight with Conor McGregor, that was easy work for them. But anyway, Wooly, he just didn't sit well with Dana. Dana can't be friends with every fighter. And Rampage did his own thing. He was a legend in mixed martial arts over there in Japan. I actually seen Rampage fight several times when I was overseas. I mean, they treat that man like a god, and for him to, in his backside of his career, come over here. I mean, Rampage didn't take no shit, man. Rampage is a different dude. He'll whoop your ass, man. Rampage will slap the taste out your motherfucking mouth, and you'll never get it back. He's an entertaining fighter when he was in shape. Jones, and look at John Jones. John Jones has did potentially worse than Tyson Fury. All right. John Jones has did worse than Tyson Fury did in boxing. But they cheer him over there. They honestly cheer John Jones. They love John Jones in the UFC. They love him. This man has had a hit and run where he injured a pregnant lady. He's popped for pads. He's popped for cocaine. The dude has been suspended from the sport multiple times. The only reason him and Rumble Johnson never fought is because he got suspended. He got in trouble again. He's done worse than Tyson Fury. And the MMA fans adore him. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. But flip it over to the boxing. Flip it over to the gloves and see what happened. Deontay Wilder can reign over 5 years, 10 successful title defenses. Tyson Fury cheats to beat him, and he gets put on the Co-Fighter of the Year magazine for defeating a fighter who they never gave credit for, what he was been able to accomplish in the sport, period. They never gave this man credit for shit. But yet when Tyson Fury gets the belt, he is automatically applauded and rewarded and put on the damn magazine as Co-Fighter of the Year with Teofimo Lopez, who should have been a solo artist on that damn magazine. And no one's really never explained a question that's rhetorical, okay? But I just really needed some explanation as to how you can defeat a fighter that you were saying it wasn't shit. And the value of what he's just accomplished is magnified into to 3 and 4 levels high. That's racism. Period. That's racism. And then the BWA want to put Tyson Fury on the pound for pound list? Huh? So he's on the pound for pound list for not defeating Cephas Safari, Pianetta, nor Tom Schwartz or Otto Wallin, and Braun Strowman. Let's just get that straight. He's on the pound for pound list for defeating Wilder, who was never placed on the pound for pound list. How does that work exactly? How does that work? How is the only 2 heavyweights is on the list white? Alexander Usyk don't have any belts right now, and Tyson Fury is on the BWA, Boxer Writers Association of America, pound for pound. How does that happen exactly? How? Somebody just answer me. How? I'm just curious. How? How can you reign for that long, the longest at that time, and not be on the pound for pound list? Because I used to hear people say, well, how can you be on the pound for pound list if you're in the heavyweight division? You're fighting at the top of the class. But when Tyson Fury defeated Wilder, what did they put him? On the pound for pound list. It's racism. It's no other buffoonery to put that under. You save or oppress the accolades of someone who's doing it correctly. And then you say, okay, let me award the individual who was able to dethrone him. So therefore, I'm taking that win of him dethroning, and I'm elevating him to a level so that the people, more people can gravitate to Tyson Fury being on the pound for pound list and him beating Deontay Wilder. So you kind of understand why Deontay was like, fuck everything. I mean, it must be it's extremely tough, bro. Because I'm going to be honest with you, as a man, I would have done less talking than he did. If I was in his position, I would have been terrible, man, because that's the way I was in life. Like, I never really tried to piss people off like that, but more people would look at me and like assume. Straight-faced nigga, what he think about? What that nigga think about over there? He always looks serious all the time, man. Why don't he smile? That's a travesty, though. Hell yeah, that's a travesty. The man is damn ridiculed by the top voices in his media shit. And then Tyson Fury is rewarded as if that crown was somehow rejuvenated. Like they sent the motherfucker up there to reassess the quality of the WBC diamond, that green diamond. Let's get another appraisal, please. Now that it's in the hands of Tyson Fury. When Wilder had it, it was 0.03%. Now that Tyson Fury has it, oh man, we have it at a full 99.9% quality. The clarity of this diamond is amazing. They put the man on the damn pound for pound list, dog. Wilder was never on the pound for pound list. Agree, easy. Connor is cocky, but when it's easy, you need to be humble. Same story. And 21 strong in the building. Good evening, WCS. Good evening to you, my brother. Appreciate you pulling up. People like Mayweather, LeBron, Jay-Z, etc. need to gather their dollars and open our own league, bring back Black Wall Street. Easy up here dropping some motherfucking gems, boy. Can they unify? Can they work as a group? And that first name that you meant, I know that's I know I hate using impossible. Because Mayweather, I just don't see. I know he give back to the community, but what you're asking, Easy, is for him to work as a unit, which consists of his earnings, his wealth, to work with guys who have a different mentality, like MJ, LeBron, JD, Jay Z, and so forth. That would be absolutely incredible. You know, they just had someone who bought all this land for cheap, and they're gonna build, and they're building their own city over there. Why aren't black people inclined to do this shit? Like, look, we have high rises going up all the time in Atlanta. They building them motherfuckers anywhere. Anywhere it's a piece of motherfucking land or old building, let's buy that shit right there. Boom, boom, tear that motherfucker down. Boom, clean it up, clean it up. Let's get these high rises up. And before you know it, they sending high rises all the way into the motherfucking sky. Sir, ma'am, we can put you on the 3600th floor, but I'm gonna be totally honest with you. You may see some things up there on certain nights that we haven't been quite able to identify. So we call Area 51, so let us know. We have a red button, a special red button. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're building high rises everywhere in Atlanta. Why can't black people build their own city again? Why can't they just build some shit like Easy said? Bring back Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was freaking destroyed off another false accusation, right? But why hasn't it been rebuilt? Wouldn't this be the best time to do it? With social media and everything, wouldn't this be the best time to do it? With all this other land, couldn't you just go out there and buy 50 acres? Go to the table. Like businessmen who are extremely wealthy and come up with a plan. Why are we consistently seeing other individuals buy all this land and say we're going to build our own city? That's a disconnect, man. I mean, a lot of us, we can talk about how much money we have, but when it comes time to putting your money in with other people's money, and you don't have 100% control over what's going to happen to that money, I mean, people get a little funny. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see a Black Wall Street go back up. Today is different. We have to have much smarter economic resources this day and time. We have the construction, we have the technology, we have all the shit to build this in no time. We just have to pick the right place and make sure you go through the proper protocol, that everything, the building codes and all that is right. And have the right people running it. It'll be amazing. It was a black family that bought that land, but they building their own city for what? I don't think it's strictly for blacks. And yeah, it was black families. Come to think about it, Easy. I mean, 21 Strong. It was, but I haven't heard too much more about it. I'm curious to know, is anybody gonna get with them to help build that shit? It'd be awesome to see another Black Wall Street active, up and running and thriving. You know what I'm saying? It'll be, man, it'll just be amazing. Real talk, it'll be amazing. But I did post a short vid. I really didn't want to interview. To be honest, I didn't want to interview Bob Arum. and I definitely want to interview Tyson Fury and Sugar Hill. But be careful what you say. If you ask them why they go in detail about shit, yeah, because when it comes to World Combat Sports, me rolling solo, people be so quick to say something, be trying to put you out there as if, well, whoever that guy is, he's very disrespectful. I'm rolling solo. I don't have nobody vouch for me unless they do it without me knowing. And I ain't tap dancing either. So how I conduct my shit, if you ain't contributing to anything, if you're not really truly supporting me, then I don't know what you have to say about it. If I want to give a tough interview, I pick the time and the place. But what I have to go through to get these credentials is on me. I have to make these calls to these people. I have to be persistent. These individuals want to go off numbers, but check this out. I'm not paying for views on my YouTube channel. It grows, it grows. Okay, I have a website too that I post content on. I have IG. Bro, people are really say, oh, you need to have this amount of. How? I can pay for that shit. I can have that in no time. So you're trying to tell me if you see these people's streams and you can literally count how many people that's in the live chat, vice how many subscribers they have. I tell people, you got 25,000 subscribers and you have 25,000 people in your live chat, and they drop you a super chat. You should be making some pretty good dollars. I ain't mad at nobody that's over here getting that money. But that's not what I have to do every day. I like it. I appreciate the ones who do it because they show their support. But I'm just not going to spend 15 minutes every day, talking about super chats. Because if they fuck with you, they fuck with you hard. You know what I'm saying? If they really fuck with you, they'll give super chats without me saying it over and over again. But hey, I appreciate that, J8. It's been a hell of a evening. It's late. Stay tuned. I'm going to some sparring tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to see who exactly he's sparring, and then I have to find out what protocol are they going off of. You know what I'm saying? So y'all stay tuned. It's definitely going to be afternoon. Going into the gym tomorrow and check out some of this sparring, but inch by inch, life is a clinch, bro. Keep on grinding. No doubt, no doubt. I appreciate it, my brother. And everybody who pulled up, appreciate y'all good looking out. Appreciate you pulling up so late to the channel and everything. I will stay on here and kick it with y'all and talk about some other, miscellaneous topics when it comes to what we see in the MMA and boxing. You know what I'm saying? So we'll save it for next time. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports, man. Salute.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters, so now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the game. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but But you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.